All right, welcome everyone. This is Gwydion with RPG Frequencies. Today's video, I wanted to walk through a web program tool website that I found several months ago called playingcards.io. As many of you know who watch my channel and follow my channel, um, I'm always looking for different virtual tabletops or places that you can create your own games. And I've been doing a lot more solo games and trying to find places that I can create games relatively easily. And the more I looked into playingcards.io, the more I realized just how robust the system is. And it's been around for a while. And you can create a free account. So you can do a lot of things for free. Let me briefly go to my account up here and show you. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. That's all right. Let's go back for a second. I want to go to, here we go. So again, you can create a free plan, and the the rooms that you create will expire if you don't play them within 2 weeks. And I guess if you create an actual free account, they expire after 30 days. Or if you switch to a group plan, which is $5 a month, you get a few different things. You can create custom games. Actually, I think you can do that for free, but I think these two items are new. Rooms don't expire and they're ad free. And I think the ad free, though, is only limited to one room you can make ad free, I think. And the professional, which is what I splurged for because I'm doing so many games, you can make all of your, well, I guess up to 30 rooms simultaneously ad free. You can password protect them and do all kinds of things. So again, it's $8 a month, I believe, or $5 a month for these, and then you can do the annual version, $50 for a year or $80. And again, I'm on the professional plan. So let's jump in. I'm not going to go in depth on how to do the things that I've done because there's actually some good videos, and I'll have to remember one person I saw doing some pretty good tutorials on playingcards.io. And if there's interest, maybe I'll do some more how-tos, but I want to more show you and inspire you on what's possible. So let me just go into some of the rooms I've created. So let's start with a simple one. So my daughter's in college, my oldest daughter, and then my mother's about 40 minutes away from me, but we all like to play Uno. So I went on to Etsy and I found a nice just Uno deck of cards, and I created a really simple Uno game table. So if I want to kind of reset the game, I can reset it all, and then we can just start a new game. So right now they're disconnected because they're obviously not here with me. Let me see if it'll work if I start a new round. So start a new round. And so it's dealing me my initial cards, which they won't see. It brings a card up here. And obviously in your hand, you can kind of drag and drop and sort these. If it's my turn, I can actually, what we would do is, this is kind of a player counter. So now it shows it's my turn. So if it was my turn, I could drag and drop a card to play, and then I could switch, and it's my daughter's turn. It tells you how many cards are in the hand. You can shuffle, you can do a round over. We don't play the way the rules are supposed to, I've learned, but I did create like a way to do the scoring. So we can click on this round over and it'll bring in all the cards in everyone's hands. So, and then it pops up this little scoring, and you can see here it tells you like what's the score of each of these. That was my intent with a counter. So I could say, hey, if I won the game and I had like 67 points, I could do that. Then we could just start a new round and everything goes back to where it was. It still has my counter, and we can start. I put a little die up here. My intention was if we wanted to roll to see who was the dealer. So I know there's only three of us. So I have this set up to up to four, but I could roll that and say, okay, it's two. So maybe my daughter Sammy can be the dealer this time. And then again, draw. Very simple automation. So if I have a draw two here, I could click here, and you'll see two cards come out of the deck and just go into my hand. Obviously, you could just pull these down as well. So I can just draw that way, and then I have a draw four, same way. So just a little bit of automation. And then again, if you want to reset everything and set it back to square zero, pops up, are you sure you're sure? That was my language. You can make that say whatever you want. Reset, and it's all set. So again, a really simple implementation, but we're having a blast. We play on Sundays, and both my wife and my daughter and my mom are really enjoying it. All right, let's go to one I just finished recently, and my daughter and I like to play Destinies, and usually we're playing in person before she went to college. So what I did is I created, for now, I've got the neoprene maps. And again, this is not like something that I could release because there's assets that are copyrighted and all that sort of thing. So this is really just for personal use. But what I did, and this is where it takes time, but it really took less time than I would think you would think. um, to scan in all the cards and the assets. So I'll show you what I've done. But these are the boards. So again, the game comes with these like cardboard boards, and we bought neoprene maps. So all I did was take pictures of these mats. So and I did this here, this little note, limit to 5 cards. Just the way I set it up, I didn't restrict the hand that's below here, but I just reminded myself that you can't have more than 5 in your hand. So I got all the images of the items. I didn't scan. I didn't want to worry about doing the front of every single card to change this number. But when you flip it over, you'll see it has all of the cards that are in the deck, and there's 150 in the base deck. Some of them are multiple cards. So we'll go through that. I've got some automation on rolling dice because you can roll when you're doing a skill test. You can roll just the main dice, which are these two. So if I click on this, it'll roll those 2 dice. And these images, honestly, I just went into the rule book and I copied the images, threw them into a free photo program called GIMP. A lot of people use Photoshop or whatever. I use GIMP because it's free. And then I just kind of made it look as good as I could. Again, this is not meant for release, so you can see some of the images I've done. This is not like ready for prime time, but good enough for my daughter and I. So if you want to roll with effort dice, so let's see, I want to use 2 effort dice. I can click on this, and then you can see I've got 2, 3, 4, and then I've got a success here, which is what that button means. I have this counter here so that if I know that like um, you can lose your effort dice, like, or use them and then not have them to use. So I guess I could have put them to where there were tokens that I could put here, but I just have a little counter here and say, hey, I currently have 3 effort dice. If I use 2, I could bring this down to 1, and then I know I can only use this roll effort die 1, and then I would bring that down to 0. So pretty straightforward. I've got gold. Again, I just created these little images, and I took a little crown from the internet and created these XP points. So I could if we got XP, I could bring them down to our mat and use them that way. Let me restart that for a second. So let's get into like showing you how I could play this really quickly. So let's say that we're using the app. There's an online app that I won't show you that whole thing, but in the first game you have the opportunity to be a huntsman. So I'm going to bring that one down. I think a witch, and there's one more. Let's just say it's this one. It's not, and those of you that know the game would know that. But huntsman, witch, and actually I forgot one thing I did. Let me pull these back up. We are going to start over here with Dad, me, and say pick Destiny. So let's click on that. And so now it pulls up all of the cards that I loaded. Now I know because of the app that I can only select for the first mission, or I forget what they're called, adventures. I can only pick, I think, the witch, the huntsman, or noble, I believe. So let's just start with the huntsman. Okay, and I click that. It's outline, pick Destiny, and then I have that going right into this card. And then I can hover over it. You can see, again, this is just a screenshot from my iPhone of the card. But the cool thing is with the app, you scan the QR code and it'll tell you kind of what's going on with that character or what have you, or something during the game. So like if I'm using Destinies on my phone, I can literally scan the QR code and it works. I've tried it. So I've got like a fully functional now Destiny game, completely virtual if we want to play it that way. So again, if I click on this, I hover over it, and I've got this to where it blows up. Not full screen, I could do that, but I have it large, and you can even see I didn't do a great job capturing the image. There's a little light reflection, so it's a little washed out, but again, it works just fine. All right, so I'll click that back over. So then if my daughter wants to pick, she could pick her Destiny. The huntsman's now gone. but she could pick, say, I don't know, the noble. So the noble, pick her destiny, and then it goes into her hand. Now, if you look in the app, it will tell you your starting scores, which are these tracks here. So I'm just going to show you how that works. So it might say that, hey, my starting score for this blue, I think that's knowledge, I forget. There's usually 4 of these pegs that you put in. So let's just say it told me that I need a 3, a 7, 10, and a 12. And during the game, you might be able to move these up or down on the track. So the reason I made these purple is just it stood out. I was going to make it blue, but it wouldn't have stood out as much. So I can move these during the game and say, yep, now I'm down to 3, 5, 8, and say 10. Same thing for my daughter over here, so I don't need to go through that again. And then you can, again, drag these down into the green and whatever those are, and then you'll use all these little tokens. Let's see. Pick item. So this is what took me the most time is I input or I copied the entire deck cards, all the individual cards, and then I added those that had more than one. I just had to add multiple cards by clicking button. I didn't have to scan them more than once. But let's just say pick item. So now when I click on pick item, literally all of the cards are now in here. So it's a little like I talked to Rob, the designer of playingcards.io, and he might try to find a functionality. If I know I'm looking for card 37, you may not even have to do this at some point. I think that's a potential functionality. But let's just say I got the sword. So you can see there's, I think, 5 sword cards. And let's just pick one. It doesn't matter which one and pick item. So now that drops in my hand. And now, again, if I can use the sword during the game, I can use my phone, scan that QR code, keep going with the app. And what I'll probably do with my daughter is screen share the Steam app in Discord. So I can screen share that. She can see the app, she can hear it, and we can just play like normal. So it worked. Looks pretty good. And then same for her. If she, her starting card in the app will tell her, sorry, I feel like I'm getting little allergies. She can pick her card. Let's just see. She's a noble. I don't know. Maybe she gets a torch. Who knows? Pick item, and then that's in her hand. And again, it's all set, and we're all set to play Destinies. And again, it's I think it's a really simple setup. Took me, I mean, I did this over a course of several days and hour or two at a time. I mean, it took me a while, but now all I have to do for the expansions is I'll probably create a new game, copy everything I've done here, just add the cards and probably the destinies that are relevant to those games. So if we want to play the expansions, we can. And then once I'm all done, and let's just say we had some starting gold, can put this on our sheet. And let's say we got a few XP. And yeah, let's just do that. She's got 3 effort dice. So let's just say, hey, we're done. We finished the adventure. I can click on restart game. Yes, restart, and everything goes back to where it was. So I'm really excited about playing Destinies, and she surprised me and came in for my birthday last night. So we probably won't do it online. We'll probably do it in person now. But when she goes back next week, we'll give it a shot to do this online, and she can now play it solo if she wants to. She can just come into this table, and she's got the app. She can just play it solo without having to have all the component pieces. So all right, let's go to another. I'm going to go to a handful of other games just to show you the power. I'll try to remember to add links so that you can look at each game that I've put in if you want to just jump to a game in the video. Lighthouse at the End of the World. This is a solo horror journaling game, and some of these I'm going to try to see if I can find a way to release some of these for free on playingcards.io so others can enjoy what I've put together. Right now, the reason I couldn't do this is this deck I actually purchased on Etsy. So I'd probably want to default back to the base deck in playing cards. And then this map, I'd have to ask the creator, the author of the Lighthouse at the End of the World, if I could release this with that image. So again, this is just my vision of the deck. You could do this however you want, or the table. And the way this game works, you have a Jenga tower that you're pulling blocks. What I decided to do, and let me see if I can do this quickly without too much trouble. I think it's over here. Yeah, I'm going to run this and then I'm going to pull it over and show you what I've done. So you need a deck of cards for this game. You need a six-sided die. You need some tokens, like 10 tokens for something, and then you need a Jenga tower. Is the idea. What I've seen a lot of people do, and there's others out here. So let me kind of show you. They use a 100 dice roller to simulate a Jenga tower, which is what I will do when I'm playing online. And so what you do when you're supposed to pull a block, you would click on this roll button, and for every one, it'll delete all of the one die and then leave you. So in this case, my first, I guess, pull, I actually lost 17 dice. And then once this goes down to 0, your tower has fallen. So I think it's a cool, for me at least, it's going to work online. So the way I did this is said, okay, I've got 83 dice left. So I can go into this and say I have 83 dice left on the tower, just as a visual reminder. And the next time I pull, I can do the same thing. You can roll a die. So like every day you're going to be picking cards for your journaling. So if I roll that, I'd get 2 cards. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to pull the cards up here, and then I will click on the card, and then I'll go back to my actual PDF copy or physical copy and read what is the prompt for the 7 of diamonds and the 2 of hearts. And then when I'm done with these, I'm just going to discard them. So I want to pull some other cards and show you why I have the cards at the bottom. Let's just see how this works for a second. 10, 3, 5, 6, 8. So yeah, what I was trying to show you is what happens when I get like an ace or a king. And if I don't, it's no big deal. I'll just show you how it works with the card. Any card doesn't really have to be that. I'm just being a little anal, I guess. So let's flip these over. Okay, so here's a king. So the kings, if you draw 4 kings, your session is over. You basically died, succumbed to ghosts, what have you, in the lighthouse. But I just have it to drag down here, so I remind myself if I've pulled all the kings, and once I've pulled the 4th, I'm done. And if I get these aces, they have a special significance in the game. So let's just say this queen of diamonds was an ace of hearts. I drag it down there to visually remind me. And there's also, if this was the ace of hearts, once you get the ace of hearts, you can start tracking your ghosts and laying the ghosts to rest. So if I click on place ghosts, it'll move those 10 tokens here. And then as I place ghosts to rest, I can drag and drop again. It's not a big, I didn't have to do this, but let's say I've placed 2 ghosts to rest. So I know there's 8 left, and I have a little spot to track that. So that's it. Really, I'm hoping to play this game soon. I don't know if I'll get time this weekend, but I'm really excited to try to play this. So that's Lighthouse at the End of the World. Doom Pilgrim. Some of you might have watched my sessions of Doom Pilgrim. I love the artwork and I think I always forget the name, but I think it's Vaslav is his name. It looks like Warclaw, but or something like that. But his artwork is awesome. I bought all of the cards for Doom Pilgrim. I have the physical deck, and then I scanned every one of the cards front and back. That took me a while, but now I can play Doom Pilgrim again anytime. So the way I've done this is you've got your 90 card deck up here, and these buttons, the way the rules of Doom Pilgrim work is you can play a simple game, an easy game with only 45 cards, which is called Poor Worm. You can play one with 60 cards, which is called Damned One. And you can play the hardest version, 90 cards, Son of Bane. So if I click on Damned One, you'll see this is 90 card deck. It'll move 60 cards over into this futures deck here. So let's click on that. Are you sure? Yep. So now you can see there's 30 left that we won't play with this session, and now there's 60 in the futures deck. So each turn you'll draw 3 cards. So let's just deal, and then I'll have 3 cards that pop up down at the bottom here. So there you go. And you can see the front of the images, and you can hover over them. And again, I might make this full screen because there's so much text on these cards, but it's kind of cool. You can see a little bit easier the artwork on these cards. So then by the virtue of the game, you need to discard 1 card that'll go into your discard pile. You can put 1 back at the bottom of your futures deck, and then one of them you're going to use. And let's see, in the past, once you read the card you're going to use, it goes into your past deck. So let's just say we're going to use this one here that has like the castle with a couple of people. So we're going to discard, which means we'll never use this one again, this first option. So we'll click on discard. That goes to your discard pile. And then this option, we're going to put in our futures deck. You can see up here, there's 57 cards at the very top. So now if I click on the future, this will go to the bottom and make it 58. So there you go, it's 58. And now we can flip over this card. And now it's a little bit easier again, since I stream, I wanted to make it a little bit bigger so I could hover over that and then I could read this to the stream and play the game. And then once you're done with that, you can click on this button to move it to your, down here, your past deck. And you're done. There's counters over here because sometimes during Doom Pilgrim, you can run into events or things like, hey, you got to track 5 of something. And then I could go in and edit the table up here and count, change the name of that tracker to whatever I want. So that's basically Doom Pilgrim. This image in the background is something that I got directly from the author, and he allowed me to use as the background for my. All right, Whispers in the Walls. I played this, kind of a basic setup, so it doesn't look super cool, but I played this and I really enjoyed it. And the way this works, again, you can start a new game, you can deal, and when you deal, you've got your Whispers deck, which you start with a location, and then you've got 8 cards that you will progressively play. So the way I've done this, I didn't set this to automate. It was just real simple to do myself. So you'd click this over or location button, you'd go into your book, you'd read about the location, you'd describe it, then you'd start with your first event, read the prompt, and then you would describe what's happening. And as you finish these, you could obviously put them into the discard pile if you want, or you can leave them here. So really simple, but you do have to separate the deck for take out, or I remember in this deck, if you take out jokers or leave them in, but you do have there's different decks and you only pull like 6 of one card and 3 of another, but I've already got that set up. So if I go back to new game, if I click deal, it's going to pull 6 of the Hollows deck, or maybe it's 6 of the secrets, 3 of the Hollows, deal. Yeah, there we go. So it pulled from each of those. And yeah, that's it. Simple game. Let's go to Crypts of Obscurum. And this one, I probably won't do a lot either, but this is a great game that I found as well. And in this case, you have 4 different levels, and you've got boss rooms that are aces. So I've got the deck separated between non-aces and aces. So if I click on deal for the first level, then it shows me all of the cards that I have, and I can just progressively explore each room. Sometimes it tells you to replace the room. So like this 3 of hearts, if it tells me, hey, swap that out for some reason of the story, you can click on replace, moves it to the discard pile and puts it there. And then at the end, once you get and you've done all these these cards here, you'll get to the boss, click over that, and determine which ace that you have. And once I'm done and I've revealed each one of these cards and I've gone through the entire level, I can click on start level 2. And I think level 2 start. Yeah. I think what it does is if you have not, I think you have to turn over all the cards, but if you don't, I think they go back in the deck. So I tried to set it up to where I could keep those cards. But anyway, then you can have like a clean setup. You got your next level. That's Crypts of Obscurum. I also created, just to show you what else you can do, I'm going to toggle back and forth, and I have done this as I play, with a combat tracker. So I created a really simple combat tracker so I could kind of flip back and forth. And when I'm playing and I run into a monster, I can track everything here. There's a little status drop down. Like if I become prone, I can click that. If I have any ailments, like I'm injured, I can click that. And I think you can have multiple ailments. So I put 2 here. You can add the monster's HP. They have a combat value that's based on a die. So like if I have a D4 for the monster and they have their elements, I could input information on type and other info. I'd have to edit the table to do that. And then I have other counters if I ever need to add counters or grab more ailments. I could grab them in from over here. So pretty straightforward. All right, these last few that I'm going to show you are games. I've tweaked one of them a little bit, and I'll explain just a bit. But the Lantern and Wraithhound are 2 games that actually have, when you buy the PDF, they come with the playingcards.io tables already. So I did a bunch of things myself, and I like augmented these, But most of what you're seeing here, I won't bore you with what I changed because it was just on the edges, like this little white card deck up here section. I did that myself. I think it typically shows down at the very bottom. So I did a few things to make this my own, but in general, you've got a really robust implementation of the lantern that comes when you purchase the lantern on. I think it's itch.io, but really cool. You can see all of your decks are up here. These are your hearts decks, your diamonds decks. You have your dice, so you can roll your d4 for various events that happen when you play the lantern. And this is a d8, same thing. You can click on initial locations, and I think you start with hearts. You roll a d4. Based on that roll, you start with 2 locations. I think it might be like an ace of hearts. I think you would move that to, I think, explore, and an 8 of hearts. I think that is one of the combinations when you use your d4. And then if you get to game start, you want all these cards to go back in the hearts deck. Click on game start, and it shuffles them and puts it back in the deck. And then as you investigate or explore, you can click on the explore button. It'll draw for you. If you're investigating based on the prompts of the lantern game, which really comes in a really cool trifold. This is all of the rules for the lantern. And I know it's a little bit hard to see, but kind of a cool little trifold brochure. And I printed that out at my local Office Depot. So starting game in the way, I think I tweaked this just a little bit, but, and I don't remember if, I think tools are that. I think it's the axe. I believe this is supplies, but when you start a game, you can move these where they need to go for your starting equipment, your lantern. I think you get a certain number of these in flame wood, and the rules will tell you when you have to discard these, and you can kind of bring them back down here if you want and get rid of them or what have you. If you get new ones, you can drag them up from here. You have 8 actions per turn, and you have this little marble that you can start here and say, hey, I'm on action 1, 2, 3. Once you get on your 4th action, you lose a lantern, so you can move that there. And there's all kinds of other things that could happen during the game. You could get conditions. So let's say I get frightened. You can pull this down and show that you're frightened. Maybe I get delusional. Pull that down so I know I have those 2 conditions. Once you get 3 of one row, so once you get 3, you're done, you're broken. I think maybe it's on the 4th, but then the game's over, I believe. Let's see, investigate, again, just pulls these down. Success or failure, we'll pull these into various sections. Twist reality, we'll add cards to the deck. So that's and you have basically a new board, I believe, for every character in the game. So there's a blacksmith, which you get a little bit more color, like just a little bit of an addition to your character for each one that's a little unique. So whether you call it a skill or an additional supply or something. So that's that. And there's also a lantern map, which is cool. I've already kind of tweaked this a little bit too. I added tokens from the game that I found online. And if you hover over these, again, it'll blow up and show you the location. You can add the little lantern location instead of these icons. So if I just wanted to add this as I move location to location, I could. There's also various things that could happen, like the game might tell you, hey, you can no longer camp in a certain location, and you would drag and drop that onto the location. As you add a new map tile, you can just kind of add them there. And again, you can hover over them, and I love the imagery. And when there's a game card down here, so you can hover over it when it's your turn. It'll tell you you can take 8 actions, and there's a little more information there. And if I click on this again and hover over it, it'll tell you what the forest turn looks like. So that's the lantern. The last one that I have not played yet is called Wraithhound. Now, this deck looks really cool, and I have not touched this. Everything you see here is how it comes with the game. And I believe, again, I think this was on itch.io, but I'll find it. So you can hover over these cards. Actually, I can click on reveal. It moves it down to here, and you can hover over them, and you can see the cards themselves and the image description. So that's really cool. I don't know what some of these are, like Secret Room. It must be a function of, obviously, of the game, and then it looks like it has a little, when you pull the card over, there is a little notation specifically on if this is a secret room. There's powers, there's some boss stuff over here. There's some dice rolling, so 2d6 if you click on roll. it'll roll the, wow, doubles. So there's 2 of 6. There's also these cards, which are awesome. So if you click on this, and like if I had rolled, I think I had just rolled a double. I think I had a double 2s. There's double 4s. So if you click on this, you can say, okay, there's a cost, a tough choice, or a complication, kind of like an oracle thing that happens with certain rolls. And this is a really cool oracle. The way he's done this, you can click on any of these individually if you want. But if you click on the oracle button, all of these change. So it says, surrender the eternal barrier. Underneath, the heart unveils. The heart that unveils. So I don't know the oracle in this game, but, and you can even, if you don't like eternal, like you can just click on that one. And the way he has all of these listed, and you could obviously update these if you want. I think you could edit the table. Yeah, you could. I won't show you that. But that's it. I know this went a little bit longer probably than I planned, about a half hour. But I just really wanted to show you the power of playingcards.io, and hope you try it out. If you do, drop me a comment. Let me know if you're already using it and you just stumbled across my video. Let me know what you've put into playingcards.io. So hope this was really helpful to you all. And until next time, happy gaming, and we will see you at the next video.